Boston, Massachusetts, your CEO has arrived. Let's talk about everything, shall we? I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite Big Business 2024 at the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. And yes, the CEO of whatever the fuck Mercedes Moné is the CEO of Moné Incorporated. I have no goddamn idea. Mercedes Moné is All Elite. And other things occurred as well. I will say this is one of the hottest crowds that AEW programming has had in a while. They were raucous, they were roaring, and they were into just about everything. Now, did I love everything on the show? Well, you can find out as the review goes on. So, the building holds around 20,000 people or so, and about 8,300 people, according to WrestleTix. They, for the configuration, they had that thing pretty goddamn jammed full, and that's good. That's good. You know what? A little promotion goes a long way. Maybe if they did this more often, they would draw bigger crowds to these buildings, because running an NBA-sized arena and having at least that many people in is fine. That's what the Climate Pledge Arena had for the first ever Dynamite that they ran in Seattle. They had about 9,100, 9,500 people, and then less for Collision and a little bit more for WrestleDream, but not quite 9,000. The whole point is if you promote things properly, then yeah, you can have a crowd like this. And they were into just about everything. I will say the new Dynamite theme is ass. Absolute ass. So, it opened like a big show. I'm not talking about Paul White. I hope Paul White's doing all right, because I heard that he's suffering, from a few injuries. I think he has to have like a knee or a hip replacement. Hope he's going to be all right. Renee, she's in the back, and a car arrives, and everybody's popping. Crowd's already roaring. Big feel. And Mercedes Moné makes her debut in All Elite Wrestling. And it was a big pop, a big moment. She got a big, throbbing amount of adulation right there. The theme is terrible. It's subjectively terrible. The idea is to get the CEO chant over. So as far as that, it succeeds, but the theme is terrible. Not that her New Japan theme was all that great, but it was a little bit catchier. I don't know, maybe I'm just being a bit too harsh, because AEW does some pretty good theme music, and they've kind of slacked lately, and this was one of those times where they slacked. But that CEO chant, that's going to get over. That's going to be Moné, as it were. She's showing off the bling, I believe, as the kids used to call it. I'm 43 years old and white. I don't know what the fuck you kids say these days. Get the hell off my lawn. Leave me alone. Terrible Professor Farnsworth impression, but that being said, I am honestly, kind of just tired, because I'm reviewing this just after midnight on Thursday morning, because I work late on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I was excited to see this episode, and I have to say the crowd did make it a lot better than it would have been had there only been 4,000 people there. It would have been pretty depressing. She looks genuinely happy, and can't argue with that. It has to do with the fact she's in Boston, a big deal, big promotion, and also that big fat check that she's getting from Tony Khan. And that's good. You know what? She deserves to get paid. She is a star. She is somebody that has made a name for herself outside of wrestling as well, with her role in The Mandalorian that I have not seen, because I'm kind of sick of the Star Wars stuff, but mainly just because it's just been oversaturated. But the CEO chants Boston, I'm home. She thanks the fans. You're the reason I'm here. And that big check that Tony Khan cut, because otherwise Triple H and Endeavor would have her back. Let's just be honest. And I'm not trying to make it a war between WWE and AEW. Money talks, and I don't blame her for taking it. I do not blame her at all. And maybe she wanted to try something different. We're never going to know. As long as she's happy, that's what's important. That goes for any talent to sign in New Japan, AEW, WWE, Impact, if you really are into that sort of thing. The whole point is, as long as wrestlers are happy, that's what's important. So, you're the reason I'm here. Wrestling saved her life. She praised Eddie Guerrero, saying that Eddie showed her that, people her size could do something like this. And that she led a women's revolution and main event at a pay-per-view in Boston. I forgot she main evented. It was the first ever woman main event on a pay-per-view, and it happened in Boston. I remember that she was part of the first ever main event. I just remember what building it was in. But, she dropped out of school to take care of her brother. And that, it's AEW is the only place where the revolution can be global. That check must have had a few extra zeros on it for her to say that, because This is not knocking AEW. It's just, let's be perfectly realistic. AEW has had a bit of a shot in the arm since, Revolution, and they've had their moments where they've done some good stuff, but can they capitalize on this stuff? Can they capitalize on her? I hope they can, because their women's division needs a big boost. But then she says, Willow and I have unfinished business. I'm all elite, and there you go. The only problem I had with this is when she said AEW is the only place where this Revolution can be global. She's already said in an interview she's not done in WWE. She's not done with WWE. So she's probably only going to be there for the 2-3 years, whatever, however long the television deal, however long her deal is. And then she's going to go back to WWE. And then everybody that's cheering her is just going to go all insane because tribalism and fandomism, if that's even a word, has gotten out of control. Let's be happy for the wrestlers. Let's just be happy for them. So, she's all elite. There we go. She thanked Tony Khan for the graphic, and he said, thanks, Monet. So Renee is with Joe. He will collect a debt from Wardlow, and he will beat the teetotal shit out of him or something. Adam Cole's in a Hammer horror set, reading from a, fairy tale, grim fairy tale horror book, whatever. I'm just going to say right now that Adam Cole would be great with this stuff if a lot of the booking was more even, because I don't believe any of this Undisputed Kingdom bullshit. And I'm sorry, but Adam Cole, it's like he's months away from coming back. And that's if he can even stay healthy. He's a hell of a talker, but this is goofy because this Undisputed Kingdom stuff, the stuff leading up to the Revelation of the Devil, was dog shit. And then Joe gets a big pop. Wardlow, not so much. Remember when Wardlow was getting big reactions? Well, Mr. Wardlow took on Samoa Joe. Thanks, Dasha. Mr. Wardlow is his name now. AEW World Title, Mr. Wardlow jumpstarts, gets a shot in, or some shots in, and then Joe hits that high kick in the corner. There is that senton off the top where Mr. Wardlow lands right on, or hits Joe in the head. Joe is kind of favoring his head. Hopefully he's all right, because he had concussions a number of times in NXT. And then Mr. Wardlow basically feigns a knee injury, then ends up hitting that knee off the top where he hits, he knocks out the job guys. That didn't work. Missed the senton, but hit a power bomb. And then Joe jumped on him and got choked. And even though Mr. Wardlow tried to fight out, he got choked out. Flat. Nothing. Just nothing. Just stone cold passed out. Wardlow's done. Mr. Wardlow is done. This is... Yeah, he wasn't going to beat Joe for the title, but it's just he hit his moves and not a lot of people really reacted. I mean, there were some, but he's not getting the reactions he used to, and that is down to Tony Khan not following up on all the stuff from Double or Nothing 2022. And from there, it's just been a series of misfires and misfires. I don't know any of these people personally, but I would imagine that Mr. Wardlow is just looking maybe to get out and do something else. They've had him for nearly 5 goddamn years by this point. Joe was going to win, but it's just the way they did it. Some of the stuff was okay. It was big man stuff. But when they feuded before, it meant something. This point, it just didn't. Swerve and Nana show up. They swerve when they drive. The security was swerving when they drive. And they drove around the TD Garden. And they try to stop him. And why is Alex Marvez still there? I'm genuinely asking. Why? So, Okada and the Blux. I'm calling them the Blux because Davey Crockett called them that. And the Blux are fake. Super fake. Everything about them is fake. Especially their Christianity. Because, let's be honest, their version of Christianity is fake as fuck. Okada then cuts a promo in English. A lot of people forgetting Okada's English pretty goddamn good, actually. And he forces Marvez to start singing Happy Birthday to the Blux. And then, thankfully, we cut away from that. Because I didn't really want to hear Marvez sing. And then the Okada Blux took on Penta, Pac, and Kingston. The crowd was hot for this. Okada had to carry this because neither of the Blux can wrestle. They have never been able to wrestle. They can get by on doing fancy, flashy stuff, or at least they could. But now they're broken down with more hair dye than Rudy Giuliani. And that's saying something. And it's ridiculous. And all this EVP stuff, it's come way too late because nobody's buying into it. They're just parodies of caricatures in wrestling, and they're not even good at it. They're not even good at doing it where it's like, oh, I want to see them get beat up. I don't want to see them on my television. So later, after a ball kick, see, the Bucks love kicking people in the balls because they have none of their own, so that's why they're jealous. And Okada hit the Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. I have no problem with Okada being a heel. I have no issue with that. This stuff with the Bucks is not good. Package on Christian and Copeland. Shivani brings out Ospreay, who gets a lot of bruv chants, which is apparently British slang, I guess. He talks about facing Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson saying that, you're great, but maybe we need to find out who the greatest wrestler is. Talking about restoring the feeling. Bruv, I am the feeling. And at Dynasty, we are going to find out who the best wrestler is, and you're looking at him. It was what it was. The crowd loved Ospreay. Here's Deanna. My goodness, she looked great, and she's not finished with Tony. She's going to shove that shoe up her ass. There are some people that are into that, and I'm not going to discuss anything further without attorneys present. My attorneys, you don't know, and you don't need to know. So, Joey White is what I wrote down on my notes, so he is now Switchblade Joey White. Why? Because why not? I need to have some fun. He took on Darby Allin. Darby's last match for a while, if not ever, because he wants to go climb Mount Everest after stupidly going through some glass at Revolution. I maintain that was stupid. I don't care how much stunt work somebody puts in. How do you learn to fall off a ladder through glass? You don't. They did their moves. Joey White is who he is. He's fine. He's not terrible in the ring. I've never really found him interesting. And Darby, I've seen Darby do enough shit, and I'm done with Darby as far as the painted glass stuff and other stuff that he's been doing. I've reached my apex with him. I do not wish him ill. I'm just done. The big fucking idiot for what he did. Darby does a coffin drop, hits the side of the apron and hits the floor, and then gets back in and gets hit with the Blade Runner 1, 2, 3. And then they feign to show respect, but no! The Gangbang Gang decides to beat him up, and then they bring out Sting's bat that a friend of mine pointed out that Darby brought out, so if that's the case, great. Otherwise, I have questions as to why Sting's bat was under the ring. But they're going to Pillmanize his ankle. Here's the Acclaimed and Billy. And no, the Gangbang Scissor Gangbang gangers are upset with each other. And they're going to help Darby out of the ring, or the Acclaimed are. Billy tries to calm him down, and Billy gets hit in the head, and wow, didn't see that coming. Didn't the Gangbang Gang try to get the Acclaimed to join them for a while? We need to form the super group. Or maybe the Acclaimed tried to get... I don't remember who did this because I genuinely don't care. They were going to form a group to take down the Undisputed Kingdom. And the fact that that was maybe 2 months ago that this stuff started happening is actually kind of fucking ridiculous. Yeah, that's the kind of shit that was going on. And they Pillmanized Darby's ankle, sort of, with a chair and a bat on it. I hope that Darby does come back alive from Mount Everest, but you know what? If this is his last ever match and he dies on Everest, he's a fucking idiot. So, I'm sorry. If people are just going to keep doing stupid stuff and they're just going to keep repeating certain things and people are just going to get together, not do anything, do some comedy, and then break up, okay, neither of these trios championships mean anything. I don't mind the fact that Jay White and the Guns, the Gangbang Gang, are heels. It's just if this led anywhere and this actually, was like something other than just faction warfare and boom, and then we're going to have people break up and there's so many factions. It's like New Japan, except too many of them remind me of House of Torture, where I don't want to see any of them at all. So then Hook and Jericho, Lion Hook, that's stupid, take on the Gates of Agony, Bishop Khan and Toa Leona. I thought this was a tag tournament match. Apparently, a tag tournament field is being announced on Rampage. Or will be announced on their social media. I genuinely don't care because tournaments, battle royal, street fights, and hardcore matches, and Anarch Queef in the arena, and all this stuff, it's blended together to the point where they're just the last 2 years of WCW. And even, a couple of the last couple years of WWF in the Attitude Era, just on copious amounts of just amphetamines. Kind of makes sense for how Tony Khan acts. there's good stuff here. There's good stuff in multiple companies, but it's just bogged down by so much stuff that blends together. Hook got the tag, and Toa Leone kind of landed bad on a throw. I hope he's all right. And then there was a double submission spot at one point, and that's illegal, but whatever. They don't allow the rest to really do anything. And Bishop Khan got choked out by Hook. Renee's with Kyle O'Reilly. I hope he's all right. More Kingdom shit. Look, the Adam stuff was funny. Roddy needs to cool it now. And Mercedes shows respect to Riho. She probably thought she was a Make-A-Wish child. Jericho challenges Hook for next week. Let's do it. Speaking of doing it, I know what I was doing. I was doing something where I was going to be dreading this next match. Willow Nightingale against Fluffer Riho. And all due respect to Willow Nightingale, who's a talent, who has this bubbly personality, can turn on and can be very vicious and can do a lot of stuff. But she has to sell for this paper-clip sized, grasshopper-shaped, goddamn atrocity of a professional wrestler. Somebody that can't goddamn do anything without dropping Willow nearly on her head, and Willow would have been well within her rights to get right back up, smack her, and leave. Or get on the mic and say, nah, I'm done. I'm sure Rio's nice. I don't give a shit if she's nice. As a wrestler, she is embarrassing. Every time Riho even gets near a wrestling program in the U.S., it sets women's wrestling back 30 goddamn years. I'm not saying she's a horrible person, but tell me one match that she's had where, oh, this is great because she was selling really good and her opponent benefited. Any opponent, Nyla Rose should have been the first women's champion. I said it before, I'll say it again. Willow should have beaten her flat in 3 minutes. And then you could have done, this beatdown and everything and stuff like that. And sure, it would have cut the women's match short. You know what you could have done? You could have cut a few minutes off of some of the other TV matches, put another women's tag there. Don't know why I'm doing the Italian thing. Forget about it. I'm sorry to any Italian people watching. You could have done something and been beneficial to your women's division, but no, you can't do that. You give the women the main event slot. Good, that's good. And it made sense given the aftermath, but you put Fluffer Riho here? You know why? Because he's fucking her. That's why. That's the only reason why she is even there. There is no good reason for Riho, for this Fluffer, this goddamn, just whisper thin individual that can't do anything. She looks confused. She probably has no idea what she's actually doing. Sure, she can do moves. You can train an AI program, that is, to read words. That doesn't mean that it's qualified to read anything or do anything. Like Riho is not qualified to be in a professional wrestling ring. Mildred Burke should rise from the dead, slam her down, make her feet touch the back of her head, to the point that she, just basically is tapping out and everything. And that probably would be like why Kenny Omega likes her. Willow won in like 3 times the amount of time it should have taken her. And then we get the blackout. Julia Hart's there. Distracts Willow enough so Sky attacks her. And then Mercedes shows up. Her and Willow have unfinished business. Then she just poses on the stage like, ha-ha, and, oh shit, I'm supposed to do a run-in. She does a couple moves, hits the Moneymaker or whatever that flatliner, the gory special new flatliner thing is. And she did that. And show respect to Willow. Willow stepped out. And Mercedes celebrated CEO chants. And you know what? That was good. That made sense as far as Willow and Mercedes getting that tease to lead to a match at Dynasty. And that'll move some tickets. That'll actually get some people to buy into the pay-per-view because you want to see how Mercedes is going to fare in an AEW ring. Especially after that ankle injury that she had that I guess she was out for, about almost a year. About almost a year, actually, now that I think about it. It was April or May of last year. That being said, great that the women main evented. At least it was great Willow main evented. Riho didn't fucking do shit because she can't do any goddamn shit. But that being said, that is all I have to say about AEW. And in closing, after this, I'm going to do what I can to review AEW Dynamite weekly going forward. But there might be times where I review it Thursday morning or I review it Thursday afternoon. It just depends how I feel. Because the show's getting more difficult to really find the worthwhile stuff where I stay up late to watch it. Because I'm tired, I'm old, and some aspects of modern wrestling are made for children. This goes across the 3 promotions that I review. That being said, though, hot crowd, some good stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.